Well, hello and welcome to Penshurst Park for round 10 of the NPL New South Wales Men's 2025 season as Sydney Olympic visit St George City FA. Bo Clements with you here for Football New South Wales to take you through tonight's match in what is a must-win for both sides, but for two very different reasons. Sydney Olympic coming into tonight's fixture, having only played 8 of the 9, having their match with the Central Coast Mariners washed out a few weeks ago, currently sit in 8th. Just outside those finals positions, whereas St George City FA are 2 points off the relegation playoff spot. So a win here will hopefully get the wheels turning for the boys from Penshurst. I'll have a quick look at our lineups for this evening's match. For Sydney Olympic, coached by Labano Haliti. In goal, number 1, Jack Gibson. At right fullback, number 12, Zach Zoricic. Left back, number 3, Connor O'Toole. And the two centre halves, 17, Joshua Hong, and number 5, Ziggy Gordon. The base in midfield, number 14, Seth Clark, and number 10, Jack Armson. In that 10 role, at number 22, Dylan Ruiz Diaz. On the right, number 7, Michael Varkas. Number 11, Adam Parkhouse on the left. And leading the line, number 9, Cyrus Demi. For St George City, coached by Manny Spanidakis. Number 1, Jack Kenny. Number 2, Matthew Wabi. Number 9, Mark McNulty. Number 10, Paolo Mitri. Number 11, Fumoto Kamada. Number 15, Nathan Grimaldi. Number 17, Noah Ovens. Number 18, Gonzalo Agrelos. Number 19, Jesse Foti. Number 23, Dakota Askew. And number 25, Brody Clarkson. St George City FC coming off a 3-1 loss last week to the Marconi Stallions, whereas Sydney Olympic coming off an absolute trotting 4-0 win against the Town Rangers. Nathan Roberts suspended in last week's match against the Stallions, so he will be absent tonight. Officials for this evening, Kelly Jones takes centre stage. Blake Sanchez Cruz and Liam Smith are your linesmen, and fourth official, Mitchell Renton. Glad to have your company tonight in the final Saturday round 10 match. The Wanderers going 2-0 up earlier this afternoon against Manly. Get a quick score check as well on Apia and Mount Druitt as we get underway. St George running right to left. Both sides in their traditional strips. Ovens to Grimaldi. That's been picked off by Armson. It looks to burst into the attacking third immediately. Dealt with for now. St George will look to build out. McNulty dropping it off. Some early signs of life from St George's. They've won a corner. Delivered into the front post, has been whacked away. But Kamada will look to load it back in. And again, Olympics defense stands strong. So Zoricic go and fetch the ball. Coming inside is O'Toole. A lovely switch of play for Varkas. The Olympic supporters showing their appreciation for that pass. Kamada did really well to read it. Just got caught out with Ziggy Gordon. Zoricic out to Parkhouse. Little burst of speed down the left. An Olympic win there, first corner of the evening. Quite surprised Teng Kowal, having started all of the first 8 games for Olympic, moves to the bench this evening, giving Joshua Hong the nod in the centre half role. To the front post, Parkhouse looks to get a flick on. And a woeful shot in the end. I believe that was Ruiz Diaz. 3 Olympic players all surging at once for it. Zoricic up to Varkas. He's done really well there to get it around the corner and win the foul. Taken short, Clark. Back to Gordon. Lovely little half step there from Clark. Hong. Parkhouse with it now. Armson going to tee up Parkhouse down the left, and it's almost the start of something promising for Olympic. Comes to naught. Kenny tries. In fact, no, it was Gibson just trying a bit of Route 1 football, looking for Demi. In behind here comes St. George. McNulty lurking at the front post, and it's dealt with by Gordon. Another chance for St. George down the right. Ricocheting twice, and the final touch coming off a red shirt. Gibson was looking for Demi. The flick on was there, but no one making that run. Armson trying to get out of trouble. Eventually wins a throw for O'Toole. Demi back to Clark, but it's been picked off by Agrelos. Skew to Grimaldi, now with Ovens. And back the other way. St. George with it. Back five, trying to stretch this Olympic line. It's with Agrelos now. But McNulty's stuck on the left-hand side with him, and all in all, really not the best decision there. Paolo Mitri urging his team to just take a few steps forward and close down. Olympic playing out from the back. Now some space opening up here for Parkhouse. Early ball in, looking for Demi. And it will be pulled back, actually. Parkhouse was unable to keep it in. Crucial head there from Dakota Askew to take it away from Demi. Quite a versatile player is Dakota Askew, having played both sides of the flanks, both as a defender and a winger. Now that right centre-back role in the back three for St. George. Now Parkhouse looking to get in behind. Wabi just mistimed the run there. With Kamada through the legs of Zoricic, and he's continued his run. Has Kamada. And Kelly Jones let the advantage run until there was no more. And now St. George in some really promising territory. So finishes 2-1. Marconi Stallions beating Spirit, which takes Marconi to the top of the table in that 1-2 clash. And Apia 4-0 to the good against Mount Druitt. Here's Mitri to the back post, and it's almost gone all the way in. Now Olympic look to break the other way. Strong challenge there from Wabi, but it's been left behind. Now Agrelos. And Agrelos will be the first name in the book. Again, Olympic decide to take the set piece sideways. Parkhouse finding the run of Clark. And again at the front post, Dakota Askew read it really well. McNulty. Poor bit of distribution out the back, but a touch from Varkas gives St. George another chance. They just can't find Jesse Foti on the run. The game is starting to open up on both sides. Just under a quarter of an hour played. Over the top, looking for Parkhouse. Got a bit too handsy there with Wabi. And if Parkhouse, it's been picked off by Askew, but he's turned it over. And again, Varkas just can't get it under control. It was rifled in his direction. Did well to even get a touch on it. A delivery from Wabi a bit lackluster from a St. George point of view. Sure though that Jack Gibson won't mind that all day long. Now Parkhouse trying to get in behind to Varkas, and it's been ripped at there by Jack Armson. The late run into the box. Kelly Jones agreeing with Jack Armson's pleas that there was a touch on the way. And Parkhouse wanting it short. Again, the outswinger. And it's dropped here to Armson, who lashes at it. Not a bad effort from there. Clark. Ruiz Diaz. St. George squeezed the ball free. Now Foti bursting down the right-hand side, cutting it back. McNulty tried to lash at it. Hong got there initially. Askew just skips through the press of Cyrus Demi. Ovens into Grimaldi. And now, in fact, with Wanderers picking up that win, that does drop St. George currently into 15th, being that relegation playoff spot, with the team that finishes second in League One. We saw just how tight that race can be down in the second tier. The Bulls and Mount Druitt going all the way to match day 30 until we knew who would be crowned the automatic promotion spot. Ovens into the corner looking for McNulty, but he'll hit the touchline before it finds his player. Maitrey. Now with Clarkson. McNulty. Maitrey trying on the half turn, but stopped in his tracks by Gordon. There's a stoppage in play, but can't say I'm too sure what for. Anyway, we press on. St. George down the right-hand side. Ball in, looking for McNulty. Is dealt with by Hong. Clarkson can't get a touch. And Demi, lucky on two occasions now, can put through Varkas. And he's forced to turn the other way. Varkas driving and wins a corner for Olympic. And the boys from Belmore turning it on. Quite fortunate there, Cyrus Demi getting that poor touch off of Brody Clarkson, and then the through ball ricocheting off Ovens out to Michael Varkas. But sometimes you do just make your own luck. Ruiz Diaz with the delivery. Hong teed it up, and it'll drop to Armson. Back in the mix, Grimaldi sets it back up. And Hong here looking to cut in and clip it to the back post, and his other half, Gordon, was lurking if Jack Kenny didn't take full control of that situation. Clarkson to Grimaldi. Well done there to beat the press. Clarkson looking for a run, and he's found Kamada. Cutting in for Moto Kamada to the back post. Unfortunate they're not to meet Jesse Fode's run. A great start for both sides. Still yet to really test either keeper. Bit of an awkward one. There, I believe that was Clark. Brought down Matt Wabi. Grimaldi. Just looking for a bit of space, and Varkas nearly picks it off. And immediately St. George press and force a mistake from Ruiz Diaz. Maitrey out now to Wabi. Looks to break free of O'Toole to the back post for Moto Kamada, who I thought was just going to go hell for leather on the left. cuts it in on the right and just can't quite get the bend on it. He's starting to get more involved. The left wing back for St. George. Exactly a quarter of the match played. Still in a deadlock. Demi, I'm not sure if he got a touch, but it ended up with Parkhouse. Ruiz Diaz skipping through midfield, still going. Clark off to Demi. A really nifty little piece of play from Olympic. Unfortunate not to turn that into something better. That back three just becomes so much harder to navigate once you're at the edge of the 18. The windows are just that much smaller in between the centre halves, but Grimaldi has made a mistake which Olympic might punish. And Parkhouse earns a corner. Grimaldi down on his haunches. To the back post, Gordon. Ruiz Diaz with the outswinger. It's going all the way to the back post. Parkhouse lines it up. Blocked by Wabi. The pressure will still continue to mount on St. George City. Clark picks it back up and wants Demi. Now Parkhouse nearly intercepted it. Clark has his shot blocked by his own number 9. Olympic will continue. Back here with Gordon, floating one out. High and wide for Parkhouse. O'Toole coming in, looking to play Ruiz Diaz. Just couldn't stop in time. The momentum carried both him and the ball out over the touchline. Ovens under pressure by Demi and turned it over, but the touch was poor and gave it straight back to St. George. And now they'll look to come down the right-hand side. Here's Foti. And that's a brilliant tackle from Hong. O'Toole went to grounds and Kelly Jones says there was foul play in that. Can't say much more than a poor pass from Gibson. Straight out over the side. Clark looking to flick it on. St. George open the game right up with Kamada. Cutting in. Looking to link up. This is brilliant from St. George. Inches, mere inches away from opening the scoring. And what would have been undoubtedly one of the goals of the season. The deft touch from McNulty, setting up Paolo Mitri. I thought even when it caressed the inside of the post that it was going in. Very unlucky not to turn that into something better. Ruiz Diaz gets the flick on. Grimaldi with time to bring it down. Clarkson feeds it out to Kamada, who's stuck for options here and goes himself. Runs into Jack Armson. Will at least get a throw in out of it. Kamada. And pulled back for the handball. Michael Varkas, the perpetrator. And Demi looks to have copped a whack off Ovens. Looked fairly 50-50. And he got as good as he gave. Brilliant turn from Mitri to open up the play. McNulty forced back. Drops it back off to Mitri. And Clarkson turns it over. Zoricic. Ovens stopping the run of Varkas. And now under pressure. Demi doing well to block off Jack Kenny and goal as an option. Brilliant control. The pass lacking a bit of power. Now Clarkson. Can St. George open it up and go the other way? Floated from Agrilos. Cutting in now. Clarkson just stabs it out away in time. Foti out to Wabi. Looks to get half a yard on O'Toole. And that was almost thinking that O'Toole had won the foul, but it was the second coming together which Kelly Jones saw issue with. And now O'Toole and Wabi both requiring the physio to come and have a look. Still 4-0 with a minute to play out at Lambert Park between Apia and Mount Druitt. Tomorrow, Wollongong Wolves and the Sutherland Sharks in the South Coast Derby. Blacktown City will host the other St. George outfit, the Saints, and Sydney United 58 against Rockdale Illendon. And what is always a fiery encounter. Only 3 points separate those two sides. An Olympic with a win here can really only go as high as 7th. Apia with their win will leapfrog Blacktown, Manly and Rockdale to go into 3rd tonight. But if Blacktown win, they will then leapfrog Apia light card again. St. George, if they can come away with at least a point here, we'll see them jump up to 13th. A win will put them level with 12th placed Wollongong. Quite a few fixtures this weekend, really, which can have detrimental impacts on the rest of the season. Especially as teams look to just get that momentum ticking over. Kelly Jones happy to get things back underway. The box flooded with red and blue. It's wrapped into the front post. And a skew back to Kamada, and saw a charging Cyrus Demi and wanted nothing to do with it. Maitre looked to clip it in. Fine Foti behind the shoulder. Gordon puts it up for Ovens. And it's a poor back pass. Demi cutting in, and Jack Kenny, brave, darting out to make sure nothing came to fruition for Olympic. Kamada back now with Ovens. Grimaldi trying to go over the top, but straight into the path of the Olympic keeper. 10 to go in the first half. Ovens. Kamada. Grelos into Clarkson, and he's had his pass intercepted by Parkhouse. Varkas. Parkhouse, flag has stayed down. Cross takes a deflection, and Jesse Foti on the initial tackle with Seth Clark. Now Ruiz Diaz and Armson both standing over this. That's O'Toole, who has called his night early. Clark out to Parkhouse. It's the number 28 of Denny Grodich. So it looks like Zoricic has also gone from right back to left back to now cover for O'Toole. Clarkson. Really well to find his way through traffic. Grimaldi was hoping for the run of Kamada, but he hadn't yet made that decision. Gordon now with Hong. Wabi not giving Parkhouse a sniff there. Stayed in. St. George up the line and St. George throw as it takes the last touch off a blue shirt. Oh. Ruiz Diaz out now with Gerdich. Demi turns Grimaldi, and that's a brilliant challenge, which now St. George will look to break away. Stopped in their tracks by Zoricic. So now it's actually Joshua Hong who's moved out to right back. And then Gerdich in at centre half next to Gordon. They do also have Tenkuo on the bench. In the defensive department. As Gordon wanted it to run all the way through to Gibson. Wabi gets a delivery in, but it's over everyone's heads. Kamada is able to keep it in. Isn't being given many options from Varkas, so he's forced back. The clearance is poor. Agrelos with a delivery. Parkhouse with the clearance. Askew. It's cleared by Armson. Demi. Still with it, Demi. Cyrus Demi here. And the shot really lacking any venom. Grelos. Mitri. Unlucky not to find McNulty. Demi's head up. Only the one shot on target for St. George City thus far. 3 for Olympic. Both keepers really not having to do a whole lot in the shot-saving department. Kenny puts it up high, looking for McNulty. Ruiz Diaz now looks to play in Varkas. Ovens with a superb last-ditch effort. And Varkas has come off second best there, but back on his feet. Hong. Nodded away from Clarkson, and Seth Clark lets one fly. A monster throw there from Kenny into Wabi. Clarkson. Mitri out to Kamada, who tests it to the back post, and it's bundled in from, I believe, Jesse Foti. The plaudits being given to Fumuto Kamada. And an absolute blunder at the back from Jack Gibson. And in fact, it did go all the way through from Fumuto Kamada. It's looked one of the more lively St. George City players, and has earned his side a well-deserved goal, coming just mere moments before the halftime break. Certainly change up Labano Haliti's halftime talk. And a real something out of nothing goal. Now Parkhouse lets it run for Clark. Do Olympic have an immediate reply? Teeing it up for Zoricic. Back again with Clark. Armson. Parkhouse letting it run. Unfortunately, couldn't wrap his foot around it, and it'll go out for a goal kick. Kenny up for Armson. Parkhouse just bundled out of the road. Imagine a couple of minutes here with a collision with O'Toole and Wabi, which unfortunately has ruled Connor O'Toole out for the rest of tonight's match. Varkas goes to grounds. He's playing for the foul. Ovens just getting overly physical. Gordon floats it up. St. George will clear their lines. Demi. Clark flicking it over, and Demi's gone to ground there. Kelly Jones says nothing in it. So Kenny will just chew as much time off the clock as he can. It's a bit of an awkward coming together there between Demi and Askew. Olympic, have they got enough time to maybe throw one last chance together? Gordon looks to go the other way to Parkhouse. Numbers surging forward for Olympic. And they've got a corner now. This will take us into the 4th minute of added time. Parkhouse at the back post. Punched away by Kenny. And Ovens got the final touch on it. So Ruiz Diaz will get another swing at it. Gordon looking to lose his marker. And this time, almost having a repeat of Flamoso Kamada's goal. And that'll be the first 45. Kamada's goal, the difference at the moment. We'll be back shortly for the second half here at Penshurst Park.
know when you win a game, they win 8-0 or something, and the people get the training. And this academy stops under 12, so it's only academy. It's only for 11 to 12. So he still have to finish it. And that's it. I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah.
Are you like selecting your shots, or do you sort of like take the time and then like scan it and see which ones? Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Sweet. Hello and welcome back to the second half of Round 10 NPL New South Wales men's action for 2025. As St. George look to start red hot. McNulty just can't get it to drop the way he wanted it to. And the Olympic fans not too pleased with that decision there. But it's coming into halftime, St. George City 4 shots, 2 on target. Olympic 8 shots, 4 on target. Double the output. And St. George City find themselves a goal to the good. If you are just joining us, Fumoto Kamada with a cross-come shot that ended up in the top corner. Jack Gibson, not too sure whether or not he was needed to come out. Ended up having to pluck the ball out of his own net. Demi beaten there by Grimaldi. McNulty dropping it off to Foti. And nifty there from Foti. Gordon comes charging off his line. Hong. Now Clark to cut through the lines. Gets a 1-2 with Demi. Armson. Teasing the St. George defense, just waiting for a run. Ruiz Diaz lets it run and Foti will nod it away. Hong. Just bundled over clumsily there by Clarkson. Gordon keen to put a cutter into the back post. No, in fact, he'll go square to Clark. Gurditch still the only change thus far. And a forced change as Connor O'Toole has had his night called early. Mitri out now with Wabi. Adam Parkhouse having to defend him and gets a foot in, which takes it away for a corner. This one well over the head of any potential recipients from Argelos there. Soricic to Gurditch. Now Ziggy Gordon. Hong into Clark, who got the drag back in on time to get away from Clarkson. And Askew nodded back to Jack Kenny. Wabi didn't get a touch on it, so it will go all the way through for an Olympic throw. Armson lays it off and it's thumped upfield looking for Demi. Armson sends Parkhouse down the left-hand side. Being wrestled by Askew. And in the end, the physicality of the centre half comes out on top. Parkhouse unable to really get anything in the box. Kenny looking for McNulty. He's found him. And in the end, an Olympic throw. Looks like a bit of time wasting. Every little helps, but it is only the 50th minute. Still plenty of time for either side to find a goal. Here come Olympic through Hong on the right-hand side. Clark blocks the clearance, but it's eventually dealt with. Gordon to Hong. Soricic. Gurdich out to Gordon. St. George really sitting in their shell now. Happy to play this 1-0 lead. That back three really starting to look more like a back five. Kamada and Wabi being a little more conservative. Clarkson has it turned over. Ruiz Diaz can't track the run of Demi. And now Kenny will put it up for McNulty. Zoricic bombs on down the left-hand side. Is upended by a skew. And Armson close hanging. Jesse Fody there, so he will be the first blue shirt in the book. So one apiece now. As Agrelos accompanies him there. Wabi, beautiful pass inside to find Mitri. Now it's Foti to the byline. He goes. And the touch from Gurdich sent it goalwards. Olympic do enough to get it clear for now. Now Demi making a nuisance of himself and forces a mistake out of Ovens. Parkhouse, deft touch to bring it down and plays Zoricic in behind. Wraps it to the back post. Who's this one going to sit for? In fact, didn't sit quite well at all for Olympic as it's back now with Gordon in his own half. Clark looking to cut through the St. George midfield. Ruiz Diaz to Parkhouse across the face. And Demi saws it over the crossbar. Seth Clark trying to spark a bit of life into this Olympic attack. Very nearly doing so. Did come into Demi at lightning pace. Would have been quite difficult for Demi to direct that goalward. It's been a great duel this, McNulty and Gordon. Both strong physical presences.
That guy, Jen Gibson, he's
Gerdich. Clipped it up for Demi, but his touch only really benefited Dakota Askew. Fody wins the foul. Seth Clark with the shirt tug. Mitri looking to combine with McNulty. Zoricic has other ideas. Demi, no support, so he'll just have to bide his time and wait for a run. Armson, Clark, Ruiz Diaz coming in on the right. And a corner for Olympic. It's been so quiet on the right-hand side, I've actually missed the change for Olympic. Bailey Callahan, number 16. On for number 7, Michael Varkas. Clark. Looking for Callahan. Armson bursting through midfield. Goes to ground and the Olympic fans aren't happy with it. Now McNulty lets it run. McNulty in behind, cutting it back. And tipped over the bar brilliantly by Gibson. McNulty being a terrific influence in the opening 15 of this second half. Foti linking up with McNulty there. Gibson anticipating the low shot and had to stretch out to knock it over the bar. And the wrong move there from Olympic as their counter-attack comes to naught. Kenny will send it up. Wabi lets it run, and Parkhouse leaving a little there on Wabi. And I'm not sure how, or McNulty from range, not sure how long Kelly Jones's patience will last with some of the time-wasting antics from St. George. Gerdich. Callahan. Blocked it initially. It's now with Demi on the edge of the area. And Armson was hoping to get the layoff and have a pop himself. Final touch off Callahan. St. George goal kick. Kenny will try to make this one of the longest goal kicks of his career. In fact, it won't really matter. It looks like St. George are going to their bench. Yes, they are. Paolo Mitri, the number 10. And And McNulty handing off the captain's armband, so I'm pretty sure that this will be the number 6 of Tarek Erchan. And in fact, it will be. Normally plays either in the holding midfield role or in the back line. And he will be in that 6th role. So a bit more of a defensive focus from Manny Sparadakis. Ruiz Diaz just trips over the ball. McNulty. Really, well, I was going to say really well done from Ovens, but it's a great read from Zoricic, and Parkhouse gets the better of a skew. Ball in. It's dropped to Ruiz Diaz. Clark opens up on the right. And now McNulty, all on his lonesome. Gordon stops him in his tracks. "27 minutes left for Olympic to try and search for this elusive goal. For St. George, this 27 minutes will feel like 27 hours. They're still creeping forward, lurking for a second goal to shore up the result. Little fouls like that will help chip away at a bit of the time. Armson out to Zoricic. Armson again. Parkhouse has been a lot quieter in this second half. Here he is now. Looking to wrap one in for Demi. Cyrus Demi! Pinpoint accuracy there from Adam Parkhouse, and Cyrus Demi just wide of the mark. Got a great bit of bend on that delivery to take it away from Askew and invite the run of his number 9. Callahan gets around the corner and wins the tackle. Clark. And no, Kelly Jones pulling it up. Not happy with the challenge there from Bailey Callahan. Askew out to Wabi. Erchan. Erchan now opens it up with Ovens. McNulty into Foti. Strong challenge from Clarkson, but it drops back to Ovens, and that's a really poor pass. Dylan Ruiz-Diaz being called off. And that will be the number 18 of Tenkwall. I'm not sure whether that now means that Demi and Quall go to a 2, or if one of them will play in that number 10 role. May give more freedom to Clark to push forward as well. Kenny comes out. Wabi.
Go, Jesse.
Gurditch not letting Foti get a touch on the ball. Wabi down into Foti. Great pass from Armson for Parkhouse. In behind is Demi. And there's a brilliant tackle from Askew, but the linesman's flag also catching the number 9 out. Gurditch into Parkhouse, now Kowal. Down the line with Urchen and Askew in pursuit. Into Armson. Just rips it wide of the posts. That's 22 minutes left. Gurditch, an almighty clearing header. Clark pleading his innocence. But the last touch deemed by Jones to be off him. St. George will get the throw. 20 metres into Olympic territory. McNulty awkwardly bundled to ground there, but it's play on. And now Kowal blocked by Grimaldi. And now Clarkson will look to go the other way. McNulty into Clarkson, and he stumbles and puts an end to that. "20 minutes for Olympic to try and pull something back." Zoricic. And his back five in full effect now. It's Kamada. You haven't heard a peep from in this second 45. He's done all his talking just before half-time. Armson put under pressure. Kowal out to Gurditch. Now Zoricic. Parkhouse making the diagonal run to the sideline. Armson looking to clip it in. Demi. Still with it is Demi. Goes to grounds. And now Wabi on the breakaway. Just clips it into the area, hoping someone will get on the end of it, but McNulty didn't have the energy. Demi still limping to the line. Gordon, diagonal out to Parkhouse. Brilliant touch. Callahan can't get a touch. Clarkson sees it clear. And Hong will win the free kick. To the back post it goes, but too much on it and doesn't give a chance for any Olympic player to get on the end of it. Gordon puts it back up. Askew, return serve. And Armson is clattered into by Kamada. Now Gurditch. Clark. Zoricic now. And I thought that might have taken a touch, but it's just the strike of the ball from Zoricic. Gurditch. Kept in by Callahan, but it's got nowhere to go. Armson. St. George will get the throw. Quarter of an hour left. Things looking bleak for Olympic. Haven't really been able to test Kenny all too well. And what really is starting to look like a back seven with Urchan and Clarkson as well. They're going to do all they can to try and lock up Kowal, Parkhouse, Demi and Callahan. Still McNulty with a chance to still be involved at the pointy end of town. Here he is now boxing Olympic into this defensive corner. Urchan, it's a brilliant tackle, but into the path of an Olympic player. And Kowal brought down Parkhouse early on the left. Parkhouse, a bit of a coming together awkwardly for St. George. Clark, Parkhouse, out to Zoricic. Sat in the air for Askew for what would have felt like an eternity for Dakota Askew. St. George throw. The number 9, Mark McNulty, called to the bench. So too Matthew Wabi. Had his job to do tonight on Adam Parkhouse and has done considerably well. The substitute, the number 16 of William Kunis. So that now means Dakota Askew out to the right wing back role. I'll wait for confirmation on the substitute for Matt Wabi. I believe it's number 14 of Luca Rug. In fact, yes, it is. So Luca Rug going to left centre half. Ovens to right centre half. Grimaldi holds the middle. Dakota Askew at right wing back. And William Kunis will lead the line in place of Mark McNulty. And the crowd on either side really starting to get into it to try and urge their boys home. Parkhouse puts it up. Clarkson. Gordon backpedaling, and it's a teasing back pass that Kunis nearly comes away with. Gerdich looking for Demi. St. George just doing enough at the moment. Just happy to send it clear, chew off 20, 30 seconds and then go again. Ovens over the top for Kunis, and I must say very fortunate not to be given a card there for kicking the ball away. Armson. Into Clark. Demi able to stay on his feet. Demi still with it. Zoricic to Parkhouse. Clark. Now back to Gerdich. Zoricic. Parkhouse into Clark. And it will go back into traffic. Zoricic. Straight down the throat of Jack Kenny. Kenny into the corner. And Kunis throws himself at it to try and keep it from going out for a goal kick. In the meantime, Jesse Foti given a yellow card. Cyrus Demi. It's a splendid ball over the top. Demi to Parkhouse. And he really should be doing a lot better. But still signs of life with 7.5 to play for Olympic. They're not going to go home without a fight. Hong tried getting it through to Callahan. Instead is crunched in the tackle and wins the foul. Armson just getting a little too greedy. The amount of real estate he's trying to take for free. Now Jack Armson, I'm not quite sure what the hold-up is. Into Clark, and he'll line one up. Seth Clark! And in the end, a comfortable save, but one that had to be made for Jack Kenny. Askew. Loses out to Clark. Demi. Past Grimaldi. Cyrus Demi. He could go all the way here. Cyrus Demi. And St. George do enough. Really well won. Seth Clark coming on the blind side of Dakota Askew. St. George will take the sting out of it by having another substitution. Gonzalo Argalos, number 18, off. And another defender. Parkhouse wraps it in. That's a great delivery. Hong goes to grounds. I believe that looks to be cramp. Parkhouse will load another one in. And that time, much less testing. Clarkson. Ball to the front post. Kunis can't get a touch. Now Kowal. Square ball in for Clark. 10 men behind the ball for St. George now. Kowal still with it. Heavy touch with Kowal. The touch from Hong just gets away from him. Four minutes left. It's all hands on deck now for St. George. Parkhouse. Zoricic trying to let it run through the legs. And then pulled up askew to prevent the counter-attack. St. George will let Jack Kenny wander up the line to take this one. Kunis managed to get a touch. Out for Foti. Urchan forces the final touch. Out off Zoricic. And that will be his final involvement. Zach Zoricic. Foti. Back to Askew. Inside for Clarkson. Kunis. Holding off Gurdich. Now Foti. Driving to the byline. Foti. Nodded away by Gordon. And it might drop nicely, therefore. So there's the substitution. Number 12, Kai Kamikamura. Demi into Qual. Pass picked off by Grimaldi. Is there another chance, though? Demi out wide to Parkhouse. And Askew with a block. And Ovens behind for a corner. So that substitution was Zach Zoricic for 19, Gianni DiPizio. To the front post, Olympic go at the back post. It's been put in by Tang Kuo. And after battering the door down for 45 minutes, at the final hour, Tang Kuo nods it in. They had done so well for 44 minutes. The flick on at the front post. And Kowal happy to bury it and secure his third goal of the campaign. And now we tick on into injury time. And is there time for more late drama here? Grimaldi just forces something that's not there. Gordon. Now Olympic is their belief that they can go all the way here. And well, Roy could try to run away, but the yellow card was always coming his way. Now, is there a chance at completing the comeback for Olympic? Jack Armson over it for Olympic. The back post it goes. And Gurdich, nearly the hero for Olympic. Hong drops it off to Clark. DiPizio out wide now. Nodded away by Grimaldi. It'll drop to Clark. Again with Clark. He was hoping for Hong, but instead it's Askew. Urchan. Clarkson back out to Urchan. Foti actually ends. Hong struggling to get back. And that's really a massive layoff there. Ovens out over the side. Hong down the line for Kuol. Askew. Clarkson at the back post. Foti on the edge of the area. Jesse Foti. Not quite. I'd have to say at a point each would probably be a fair result for either side. And what was really a must-win game for both sides. Well, this point will be far more valuable to St. George. We're looking to just get out of this relegation playoff spot. Demi, burst pass. And the whistle had been blown. I'm surprised they didn't play the advantage and let Koal run with it, but will trickle now into the 95th minute. Armson again. Demi, and linesman's flag has been pulled up. I'm not too sure how much more time there'll be here. Askew and Foti bursting down the right-hand side, hoping that Kenny will have the awareness to play him. And he has Dakota Askew here for St. George. And Kunis could do nothing but watch and let it go across. And now Olympic can't find a target up front. And Hong has made an absolute mess of it. We've got a corner for St. George. The body's barreling in to the 18-yard box. Everyone but Jack Kenny and Kai Kamikura await the delivery. Can they enact revenge? To the back post it goes. A point apiece in the longest 45 minutes in St. George City's history. And they got oh so close to coming away with the 3 points. The early goal from Fumoto Kamada just a minute before half-time was replied with Tankuol a minute before full-time. 1 goal apiece here at Penshurst Park. I've been Bo Clements. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.